Hey guys, welcome back to Ride Review. My name is Mitch, and this is the X300 from Hiboy. This is a 12-inch scooter, 500-watt motor, a claimed range of like 39 miles. So let's go ahead and walk through it and see what she has to offer. Now, before we jump into all the specs, the first and most important thing for a lot of people is going to be our price point here. And the price point right now on the X300 is $850. So 850 bucks, get you this bad boy. What does it get you? Well, let's look at it. The first thing that we should look at after the price is going to be motor. So the motor we have is a rear hub. This is a 500 watt nominal, 700 peak motor. It's got a top speed capable of 23 miles per hour. And during the ride test, we'll go ahead and test out those different riding profiles, see what the top speeds are in each one. But it's got a claimed top speed of 23 miles per hour. Now, this is one of those scooters that, just in my opinion, looks a little bit more torquey than it ended up being. Just in, the limited riding I've done on it so far, didn't blow me away as far as the torque goes. If you're looking for something that is a little bit more capable, and by capable I mean just, it can handle a couple more terrains than some of those smaller 6-8-inch scooters. We have 12-inch pneumatic tires here. So this is something that is going to offer us a little bit more versatility when it comes to the type of terrain that we can go on. Also, when you're talking about like cracks, bumps in the pavement, things like that, these 12-inch tires are going to have a much better attack angle than those 8 to 10-inch scooters. So there already is a pretty big advantage. You do have air, so these are pneumatic tires. So it's going to make it a little bit smoother of a ride, and we also have suspension up here in the front. Nothing in the rear as far as suspension goes, and at the $850 price point, that might be something I would consider, looking at maybe updating on the next version of it, the X400. Let's do full suspension in the back, because even some of those, 8, 10-inch tires, and Hiboy's got some. I think it's the S2 Max or the Max Pro. There's a lot of Maxes and Pros and S2s there, but they do have one that has the full suspension on it, and in my opinion, it's a little bit more of a smoother ride, even though we do have the bigger tires here. So couple of interesting upgrades here. We've got full set of fenders, so we got our full fender right here, big old fender in the back. Now this is something that they recommend not putting weight on. This isn't metal or anything. It is pretty robust, it's pretty thick, so depending on how much weight you're actually putting back there, you could probably get away with it. But there is this sticker that says, please do not use this fender as a brake. So it implies like you shouldn't be pushing down on it. Oh, here comes Eric. Look at Eric, he's riding his bike. He's testing out bikes over there. Trying to get Eric to come over here, kind of give me his thoughts on the scooter. Let me see if I can flag him down real quick. Eric! All right, so I was recording the review, and then Eric, one of our techs over here at Power and E-Bikes, he was test riding the bike, and I just want to get his opinion on the scooter. This is a third-party review. So, Eric, what do you think about the scooter so far?
Just by the looks of it, I like the aggressive, how it looks aggressive with the fender and how this comes back. Normally the other ones are a little bit smaller plastic piece. This is a bit bigger, just looks more aggressive.
Now, what do you think as far as, so this one has 12-inch tires. So a lot of the scooters that we carry, 8 to 10 inches, kind of the standard. Yep. And the 12 inches, what do you think that'll do as far as performance or comfort?
Definitely, it's going to be much more versatile for going off-road, gravel, especially around in this area. Definitely eat up those bumps a lot better. Okay. For sure.
Yeah, no, I kind of talked about some of that stuff, so I think that makes a lot of sense. What I would love to do is if we just turn it on real quick, if you just want to like ride it around just kind of right in this area, and then give me some initial feedback. Okay. So this is unbiased initial feedback. I mean, as unbiased as you can be for a scooter that you sell, right? Yep. So let's see let's see what he thinks about it.
It feels sturdy. No looseness or anything in it.
Very solid.
Very solid.
Look at a Mach Wheel Obsidian step through in the back over there. That is a fun bike. I have to do a review on that one in the next little bit.
Oh, just a night and day difference from some of the other ones.
So initial ride feel based on, because you've ridden all the Hiboys pretty much at this point.
Yes.
What's your initial impression of this?
What strikes me the most is just how solid it feels, just in terms of how there's no vibrations or anything coming through, and yeah, it just feels really solid. And then also on the carving and everything with the bit larger tires, it's easier to carve for sure.
So you feel like you had pretty good handling, pretty good control of it?
Definitely.
Okay,
Definitely.
sick. All right, dude. Well, hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And that was Eric, ladies and gentlemen. He's got to get back to work. I paid him to assemble bikes and sell bikes, and every once in a while I'll have him test ride a scooter, you know? All right, let's all say thanks, Eric. Thanks, Eric. Thank you. All right, so that's his initial impression of the scooter. I will give you mine a little bit later when we do our ride test portion as far as how it handles and you know, some of the torque and the get up and go. He seemed to be pretty impressed by it, so I have high hopes when we get to that section. Now the battery we have here is a 48 volt, 13.5 amp hour battery. Now Hiboy claims this has a range of 37 miles, and based on my experience, you know, riding scooters, doing bikes, I've been doing this for a long time, seems a little bit overzealous in my opinion. Realistic range for me, just based on sort of initial specs, probably 25 to 30 miles is more of a realistic range. But one of the really cool features about this, you actually, you know, you get this key here and you're like, a key for a scooter? That's crazy. But it's actually really simple to remove the battery here. So we're gonna do this. This boy pops out and then we can just remove the battery just like that. So very interesting to have a removable battery on a kick scooter, especially because it is in the floor, and oftentimes that is not the case with scooters. Very easy to put in and out. So in a lot of ways, a really cool feature, in my opinion, the fact that we can remove the battery in and out just makes it a whole lot easier. Now, as far as weight goes, this is about 56 pounds. So again, I'd mentioned this is a bigger scooter. So the fact that you can remove the battery here, I think is really, really interesting. The next thing to talk about, and something I think is pretty important with some of these direct-to-consumer brands, is the measurements, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words, but it doesn't tell you exactly how it's gonna fit you. Whereas, you know, if you can get some of the measurements, you can get a good idea of the measurements here. So the first one, and maybe the most important thing for me, is gonna be deck space. I like having a wide scooter, wide pedals, whatever. I like, you know, a good solid spot to put my feet. And the deck that we have here online, Hiboy says this is a 9-inch deck, and that's true if you count from here to here, but as you can see, this slopes off to the edge. So this is non-usable deck space. The usable deck space is about 7 inches. It's about 7 inches wide here and then about 19 inches long. So it's still a pretty wide scooter, but it's not 9 inches like, you know, some of the stuff online would make you believe. As far as clearance goes, we've got 4 to 5 inches depending on which side of the scooter you're looking at, front or back. It slopes a little bit. So up in the front, we've got about 5 inches of clearance, and as it slopes back at the smallest point, we have about 4 inches of clearance. So as far as a scooter goes, not bad for clearance. Again, we got those 12-inch tires, really raises it up quite a bit. The next thing to look at is going to be how tall these bars are from the deck to here. That way you can get a good idea of the fit for you. And that height is gonna be 41 inches from the deck up there to the center of the bars. So if you wanted to mock that up, kind of figure out where that would fit for you, 41 inches from the deck where you're gonna be standing to the handlebars. Now, something I mentioned it was 56 pounds earlier. I believe it's actually closer to 53. And again, because that battery is removable, you could take off a lot of the weight if you have to, you know, carry it up a set of stairs, although you still got to carry the battery, but maybe you can throw that off to somebody else and then you can carry the scooter if, you know, if that's what you wanted to do. Does support a max weight of 265 pounds or 120 kilos. So pretty good as far as the weight that it's able to pull. If you are, you know, 220 like me, this is a good range for you. Still is gonna have quite a bit of get up and go, as Eric pointed out and as we are about to find out. But before we do that, 2 more things we got to cover. We have got to cover some of the extras here as far as the scooter. Again, you're paying 850 bucks for a scooter. You know, are some of these extras going to make it more valuable for you? And then we got to fold it up, pick it up, kind of see how that works. So as far as extras go, we do have integrated lights, which on a scooter, especially something, you know, you're imagining is going to be somewhat of an urban mobility vehicle, it is nice that we have those. A little bit of a light button right here. I'm going to press that. We got a light indicator here at the bottom of the screen. And that's going to turn on our front light. As you can see, it doesn't look super bright. It's not super bright, but it's not too bad. It's the middle of a Texas day out here, so it looks a lot dimmer than it really is. We've also got our brake back here, and then just to check, we do have braking integration, so as you can see, it is going to get brighter when we pull our brake lever. So a couple nice little safety features there. We do have a built-in bell to our rear brake. Now, something that kind of took me off guard, and if you're coming from the motorcycle world, it's going to make sense. If you're coming from the e-bike world, it might be a little bit backwards, but your back brake is actually on the left-hand side, and your front brake is actually on the right-hand side. So just something to pay attention to if you're going back and forth between, most e-bikes on the market today. Then that'll feel backwards to you, like it did to me. But again, if you're coming from the motorcycle world, that's going to make a lot of sense to you. Now, you might have noticed these grips look a little strange, and that's because we actually have turn signals. So we got our turn signal keypad right here, and we got our turn signals right back there. Now, it doesn't do anything in the rear, but you can see that turn signal pretty well from behind. And because it's at the bar end, hopefully you're not going to be taking up too much of this, and people will be able to notice that. It does beep as well, so that way you know that it's on. Press it again to turn it off. Again, for the other side. Kaboom. Now, some people might not necessarily like the beeping for the turn signal. Personally, I'm a big fan of it. Every time I get a bike or a scooter or whatever that has turn signals on it, I turn it on because I'm like, oh, I got turn signals, and then I forget to turn it off, and I'm riding with it for the next 5 minutes or however long that straightaway is. So it is cool, in my opinion, if they do have that, letting you know, like, hey, you got your turn signal on. So let's go ahead and turn it off here, and then let's fold it up and kind of see what that looks like. All right, so to fold this thing, it's very simple. We've got a 2-stage folder over here, so we got this little safety button. You get to pull up on this, and you pull this down, and then as you pull that down, we're gonna swivel this out because this comes back. There's a little catch right here, and we're gonna catch into it. So then once it's here, we can lift it up. Just gotta find that center point, and there you go. It doesn't really feel like 53 pounds. I mean, after, 2 or 3 flights of stairs, that would probably feel like 53 pounds. Once you get that weight balanced, this is pretty simple to just, walk around, carry it up wherever you need to get it to, and then you just pop this down again, pop this up closed, and then just, there you go, and it's locked into place. So I kind of like this folding mechanism. I think it makes a lot of sense. With scooters that have, the folding capabilities, it is a little bit squirrely sometimes because you're going pretty fast. If that fails, you're 100% screwed. So the fact that we have a 2-stage here, I like it. Once it's in there, it does feel very solid. There's no play in it like some of the folding mechanisms. So I think that is a pretty big plus in my opinion. Now, the last thing to chat about is going to be the brakes. Before you do any riding and test out top speeds, we want to make sure that our brakes are working correctly. I already know that they're working correctly because I drove it over here, but we do have both front and rear, or rear and front, right, because it's backwards, mechanical brakes. So down here, we've got our mechanical brakes. Now online, it says it's got an electronic brake, and if you're familiar with scooters, you kind of know what that's supposed to mean, but this doesn't have an actual electronic brake. I think what they mean is they have motor cutoff cables here. So once you pull this back a little bit, it's gonna cut off power to the motor. So you're not fighting against the motor. Even if you're holding the throttle down, then as soon as you pull this back just a little bit, it's going to cut off power to the motor. It's going to allow you to stop a little bit safer, and that just makes a lot of sense to me. But when they say electronic motors, because a lot of those, the electronic brakes, when you let off the brakes, it has its own brake. You can feel it start to slow down, and this doesn't have that here. So I think when they are talking about electronic brakes, they're talking about the motor cutoff there. So all in all, and also I guess just last thing to mention, we do have a cup holder here. I think they call it a coffee holder. I probably wouldn't put coffee in there, but it is just a traditional bottle holder, regular Boss spacing it looks like, so you could probably swap that out with anything, whether that's a bag that's designed for bottle cage Bosses or just something that's a little bit more robust, maybe a little bit more secure that you would want to carry, a coffee with. And then up here in the front, we do have this nice big reflective stripe. At first I thought it was a light. It's not, it's just a reflector, but it is nice, again, from a safety perspective, that we do have something up front to reflect, plus we've got our light, and then a smaller reflector in there. So that pretty much covers it for all the specs on this particular scooter. So let's go ahead and take it outside, for the ride test.
What's up, everybody? Tyson here from Ride Review. I want to take a quick moment to tell you about Micromobility America. This is a micromobility focused conference that is happening in Southern California on November 14th and 15th this year. Now, we are pulling out all the stops and trying to get a lot more dealers, and if you're a store owner or maybe a distributor for electric vehicles, I mean, bikes, scooters, skateboards, EUCs, micro cars, anything like that. We want to get you involved at this event. We're going to have representatives from hundreds of manufacturers there. Most of these representatives are going to be, C-level, founders, engineers. So if there's brands that you're interested in, you can, skip the email chains and just go, straight to the people who actually make the decisions and can really tell you what these products are about and why they made them this way. Also at this event, you can expect, we're going to have networking mixers, we're going to have after parties, we're going to have the dealer awards, we're going to have a Shark Tank style competition where manufacturers can bring in some of their, new and outlandish product ideas, and then the dealers will get a chance to, vet those and rank those, see if they're going to be good for the market or not. If you guys are interested, please check out the description of the video. You're going to find a link where you can learn more and get registered. All right, back to the video.
All right, guys, we are out here for the ride test portion on the X300. So turn it on. We got our power button right here. Press and hold that. Okay, boom. We have a double beep, letting us know it's on. Now, right now, we're in level 1. So it's 1, 2, 3 on the display here. They do have names for it that I didn't bother to learn. So 1, 2, and 3, those are different levels of pedal assist or scooter assist, motor power, whatever. You can tell I'm used to doing bike stuff. So right here we've got our battery bar. So we're at 3 of 5. So a little bit over half as far as the charge goes. And this scooter, as it is right now, and this might be something you could fix in the app, but it is kick to start. So you got to kick a little bit, nothing too crazy, and then we'll get going. And there is, if you can see it from here, there is that blue bar that kind of goes around from the left side up around to the top, back over to the right. And that's going to let us know how many watts we're pulling. Not necessarily a number there, but it is going to be, a percentage. So we get an idea of kind of what we're pulling there. So right now in pedal assist, keep calling it pedal assist. In power level 1, it goes to about 13 miles per hour, and we're pretty much hitting 13. Slows down to 12, like that during a big gust of wind, but that's what we get there. Now to switch, we have to press the power button and the light at the same time. That gets us into 2. You can feel there's a little bit more torque off the line, and that should get us up to about 17, 18 miles an hour here. Gonna do a brake test. Easy to scout the tires. Even though we got mechanical brakes here, they definitely are doing a pretty good job on the scooter. It's 53 pounds. I'm 215, so we're pushing quite a bit of weight here, and the brakes are still doing a pretty good job. Now it gets up to that 18 pretty quick, and you can tell, well, I hit 19 right there, and you can tell that it's got a little bit more in the tank. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it on level 3, and it feels a little bit torquey. Nothing too crazy. It does feel pretty stable, pretty easy to control. Again, having those 12-inch tires, I feel like it's really nice for carving. I think Eric had mentioned that earlier. But you do feel like you get quite a bit of control out of these things. Let's go ahead and do our top speed run. We should be hitting 23 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and see how long it takes us to get up there. We're at 17, 18, 19, 20. Somehow we're going into the wind again. I guess it's coming from the side. 21, 22, 23. So that is going to be our top speed here. Now what's wild about it is it does feel like it has a little bit more to give. But we're hitting 22, 23 pretty easily. And again, got a lot of control with those 12-inch tires. So go ahead and do another brake test here. Easy, a lot of control there. And we are cruising. Now again, the claimed max range here, 37 miles. Probably, if somebody was super light, right? You're talking light, and they were on a low level of power here, so they're on power level 1, maybe they're getting 35 miles. But I think for most people riding this, 25 to 30 is a fairly realistic range. And if you're riding around on 3 and you're just hammering the throttle like, like I'm doing, top speed, might see even a little bit less than that, 20, 25 for that style of riding. So it just kind of depends on how you're going to use it and what your actual range is going to be. Yeah. No, very, very good braking control for mechanical brakes in my opinion. Again, lots of traction going around some of the stuff. Now, one thing we should try is hitting a little curb action. We got a small curb over here. It's probably about 2 inches. So I'm gonna try to just hit that. Not terribly fast, but let's see what it does here. Oh, not too bad. And then off the curb. Oh, off the curb is nice. Over there where we went off, it's probably closer to 4 inches. And that feels pretty good. So let's go ahead and hit that one more time. Get ready to hit this. 1 or 2 inches. And off the side here. That is pretty easy. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, and probably the last thing, because it's a scooter, we rode it, it's gonna be how it handles off-road. Now, I would not do this on some of the 8-inch tire wheels that we have, but the 12-inch one does seem like this is something that should be a little bit better at. As I mentioned, going full suspension on something like this with 12-inch wheels does sound a little bit better than just having suspension up front. But it's really not too bad. We'll go ahead and hit this curb over here. Little hop, not too bad. And we are in the home stretch here. See if we can skid out that back tire. Oh, we can. We can. Pretty impressed with the mechanical brakes here. But guys, I think that is going to do it for our review on the X300. If you guys want to know more about it, we'll have links to them down below. And if you guys want to pick up one of these for yourself, or you already have one of these and you're riding around, would love to know, kind of what your experience has been so far with it. I like it, been having fun with it. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Guys, I appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.